All right, I am back. I have the routers and the routing information all overlaid, or most of it. Let's check in on what it looks like so far. So this is the straight-on view. It's dark, right? Everything's dark. I don't have any lighting system, but I do have. I did use a certain type of lighting on the lettering so that it kind of diffuses an emission. Excuse me, not a diffusion, an emission. And what we have is the device ID, and I've called it core, and we have the timestamp from when the info is captured, the management IP, and the platform. Now that's on the straight-on vertical plane. Now, but what I can do is you can see these little squares. Well, those aren't typos. Those are more text information. So if I say view, viewpoint, I guess it would be left. Right. Geez. View, viewpoint, right. Right? So now we have the software version, which is very long. That's why I've put it back here. But we want this information on something like this. And the list of IP addresses that are associated with the router. And we can swing back. And on the 45, we have the router, the main information up front, some detailed information at the back. Now, what my plan is, if I go back to the view front, what my plan is now is to add a NIC, a little interface here and here, actually probably here. And then what I'll do here is put the information about that interface, or maybe right in the middle, or maybe here, and then I'll put the information here about the interface. And then I'd like to put another interface here with the label of the interface, and then ultimately draw connections between the two. So those are the next steps. Let me get back into kind of the design mode here. And I'm just bringing you back in. Let me add the NIC, and I'll get the NICs placed, and then I'll come back and add more text. It's still going to take me, right, I have this much information. This is what I'd like to overlay. The local interface down here with an interface, and then the remote information with, right, this duplex native VLAN hold time VTP sort of beside the remote interface, and then we can connect them. So those are the next steps. Let's go ahead and link in our NIC. Now, where did I put that NIC? Images? No. Maybe I didn't save the NIC. I might have to make a new network interface. Or is it inside of... I know I have it in interface brief. Here we go, objects. I should have a NIC in here. NIC, there we go. Let's take the NIC. There we go. And what we're going to do is make a proxy of it. And we're going to make a second proxy of it. Oh, you can only make one proxy, so then we'll just copy this proxy. Okay, so then what we're going to do is unlink the first one and rename this one, properties here, to be, let's say, router NIC. And then let's copy it and paste it and call this one, what we're going to call this one is parent router NIC. Let's call it switch to router NIC. All right. So now we're going to place these, right, we're going to hide them. We don't want to use those, but what we want to do is instantiate them and place them. And we can deal with the sizing once we can decide if the sizing is too big or too small. So let's go ahead and instantiate the parent NICs first and place those. So these are objects, and it's called, whoops. This is switch to router NICs. And again, we're connecting it into the same data. Let me just bring that up here so I make this connection properly. And there is the two NICs have been placed. But now we want to deal with their location, so we have to bring them into our for loop. Right? So we have to make a new iterator, and it is just an object list. And this is going to be called switch S2R NIC. How about that? And then we got to go back. Let me give myself a little more space here. And let me just bring this up here so I can make this easy connection between our objects and our NICs. Okay, so now we have to transform, and there's no text to transform. It is just the XYZ. So what we need, and I found that we can copy and paste some things pretty easily here. So what I want is a combined node vector, and I want some math with it. So let me take these three objects, copy them, paste them. That's a Control-C, Control-V, and then look. I have the whole thing that I've established here, which is pretty incredible. So now I know I want this math node. This is gonna be tricky to connect and without moving it. Let me just move it down here for a second and go ahead and make that connection. And I don't know what we're doing with subtract or add yet, so I'm not going to do anything. Let's just make it subtract 0. And now I just need to plug the object in to my new NIC object here. All right, so what did that do to the NICs? See, it put them up here and up here, which is close, but those aren't the NICs we're placing. We're placing them on what happened there? Whoops, that was close. I hit the wrong button. We're going to have to adjust the placement here, and we're going to place them on above this here. Right, so let's just make these 0 and 0. And what are we subtracting? 0 on the x? But I see. So I might need to make a new math node here because I kind of want them spread out like this though. I don't really want them right under the router though, right? I sort of want them here and here, but that's just more math nodes, right? So let me trace this up right here. I'm doing a double subtract there. Is that wrong? Where's my division? Right, that's coming from the multiply by 30. So what I need to do is copy this multiply by 30 and give these NICs a new. Right, so that last one that I connected here, I'm going to disconnect that, and I'm going to put in, I hit Control-C, Control-V, there's that. There, and that is from the index. And instead of multiply by 30, so let me bring that over here. And that, now they should be I'm wondering why they haven't spread out. Oh, they have spread out. Good. All right, good. Okay, so now, right, I don't want to multiply it by 30. For this, there's only the two NICs, right? So, like 5. Let's just spread them apart just a little bit, even 3. Right, because we don't know how many up. There could be, 10 or 15 of them, and they're going to stack along top of the NIC here. So let's just do 5 because there's only 2 of them. And then we're going to offset them here to, if we divide by 2, I think, right? No, subtract subtract 3, say, and then on the y-axis, I mean, we can move them back so they're, because these nicks are pretty big. And we can scale the nicks down. We talked about that. But what we can do is put them in line with, well, let's scale them first. Let's delete these and bring up our main nick. And right, it's placed kind of perfectly. So let's scale this down. Oh, I see what's going on. Like 5 is pretty good. That's approximately, right? That doesn't look bad. All right, good. So now I'm going to hide that and then reanimate. And now I've got to place these differently. So on the Z, whoops. On the Z, let's do 1.5. And then on the Y, we got to bring them forward a little bit. What if we just do 0? So in the middle, maybe we could push them to the front. So let's say minus 0.5, minus 0.5, minus 0.75. They're all lined up. Looks good. Now, again, we can adjust. We have to adjust the multiplication here because they're smaller now. So they're all pushed over. And I guess we could make them even further here. Right at the start of the device, right? And they would just spawn this way. That's kind of cool. There. Right? So then I haven't left any room for the label because I do have labels, right? I want to put this, I'm not going to put local interface, I'm just going to put the 10 gig. And I suppose I could put that vertically here, but I also want to have wires coming out of this. And I don't want to spread them all the way apart. That's probably the best way to do it, is to put them vertically this way, the label of the interface. Or I guess I could put it here behind the interface. That's probably a better idea, right? Then I'll have the wire come out of the front and the actual label of the interface back here. All right, I just wanted to check in, and I'll be working on more of this. I'm going to get the interfaces placed. I'm not going to connect anything yet. That's a different exercise. Let me get the NICs placed, the data around the NICs on there, and then I'll check back in. And I'm going to hide everything, and then we're going to explore the world of wires and pipes in Blender. All right, this is getting good. Thanks again. Stick around.